It is November the 19th. We're in the Governor's Room in the Community Center, and this is the regular meeting of the St. Peter Board of Education. I'd like to call that meeting to order. And to do so, we would consider and adopt the agenda before us.
I so move.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the agenda is adopted. Would you please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As we move through our agenda tonight, if there's a member of the audience who wishes to speak to a specific agenda item that we have, there are cards in the back, and you need to get them to Miss Becky, and when we reach that agenda item, we allot opportunity for you to speak to that item. The next thing we have tonight is our approval of the consent agenda. And the consent agenda, as per our habit, we'll read through the consent agenda. A motion to approve would be in order in the end, or if there's an individual item we need to deal with, learn more about, we will do that at that time. Tonight, on the consent agenda, we are approving the regular board meeting minutes of October the 15th, 2018. We are approving bills of $1,952,462.08 and wire transfers of $3,192,055.33 for October of 2018.
Mr. Chair, I was down grinding away this afternoon, and the bills are all in order.
Thank you, Treasurer Carlson. We have a number of personnel items. We are accepting the resignation of a special education paraprofessional at North Elementary, effective October 31, 2018. We are accepting the resignation of a special education paraprofessional at South Elementary. This is additional one, effective October 26, 2018. We are approving of an 11-week maternity leave request from February 27, 2019 to May 13th of 2019 at the St. Peter Middle School. We are approving the hiring of a 5.5 hour per day special education paraprofessional at St. Peter Middle School, effective November 6, 2018. This is a replacement position. We are approving the hiring of a 2 hour per day special education paraprofessional at St. Peter Middle School, effective November the 6th, 2018. This is also a replacement position. We are accepting the resignation of a paraprofessional at St. Peter High School, effective November 5, 2018. We are approving the hiring of a paraprofessional at St. Peter High School, effective November 12, 2018. This is a replacement position. We are accepting the resignation of a Title I paraprofessional at North Elementary School, effective November 16, 2018. We are approving the hiring of a 6.75 hour per day special education paraprofessional at North Elementary School, effective December the 4th, 2018. This is a replacement position. We are approving a 12-week family medical leave of absence for a teacher at St. Peter High School beginning November the 6th, 2018. This is in accordance with Article 13 of the teacher contract. We are approving the hiring of a long-term math substitute for the 2018-19 school year at St. Peter High School. And we are approving the winter coaches, and their positions are posted in the notes and will be on the board or on the website. And we are also declaring equipment as obsolete, allowing for recycling or disposal of such equipment. A list of these items is included in our packet and is also posted on the website. And that is the consent agenda. A motion to approve would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion or clarification?
Yeah, just on letter L, Corey Weebush, it's awesome that he's a hardcore volunteer, but we have him listed twice for the same position. Roman numeral 8, Roman numeral 23. So I don't know if we're asking double what we normally ask of a volunteer, but you should probably take one of those off. So,
Very well.
just clerical, so.
Others? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the consent agenda is approved. We're going to move one little item on the agenda this evening. We have the privilege tonight of being able to approve a gift. And Dr. Peterson, do you want to tell us a little more about that?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the board, as Mary and Al and Colleen come to the front table with John and Annette, I'd like to just provide a little bit of an overview. Earlier this year, the school district was approached by Colleen Jacks about a gift that was left with the Jeff Rosoff estate. We had an absolute wonderful time talking with Mary and Colleen about the intention of the gift. After we heard the general idea as to what Jeff's wishes were, we had an opportunity to talk with the Gifts and Donations Committee, which is the subcommittee of the board that looks at the structure of gifts within our school district and then provides a recommendation to the full board. So there is a recommendation in your board packet to formally accept the Jeffrey Rosoff gift tonight. But prior to that happening, we thought it would be a good opportunity to hear a little bit about Jeff, the gift, and the purpose of that tonight. So with that.
A little bit about Jeff is a tall order. He was a friend for many years. Al and I met him when he came to St. Peter in 1981 to be a professor of math at Gustavus. And so we hit it off and had a friendship that went through all those years and through some really dark times and lots of great times. But he was a wonderful person. He was a brilliant person. He was kind of a Renaissance guy. And among his many, he was a mathematician. He was a really good cook. He could do beautiful things with wood. He had a fabulous sense of humor, as Colleen pointed out, both intellectual and juvenile, which attests to the fact that he was a teacher. And he loved French. That was among his passions, and he took a scholar's interest in language. He studied throughout high school and college. He told me once he debated between a doctorate in math or French, and math won. But he kept working on his French. Not that long ago, he chose to spend some time in the south of France studying, having a really good time and playing French. But also, he did meet daily with a teacher for conversational practice. So he took classes. He was always working on it. And his son David, who we lost in a car accident in 2004, was my student. He was a frequent flyer at French camp. It's a lot of F's. And a great student. And so Jeff grew to love the French camp program too. He came along as a chaperone a couple times. He liked the program. He liked the people. He liked the food. He liked the language. He just liked talking to people. And so that was just something that an interest that we shared over long years. So of course you can imagine in all the tragedy of the years, we didn't imagine that losing Jeff was on the script at this early time. We would have liked to take more trips to France together. But it was very touching to me to learn that he had left a substantial gift to our school to benefit my students in their desire to spend camp weekends and maybe summer camp programs at Lac du Bois. So, so far this year, I just within the last month have taken 63 kids on 2 different weekends who benefited from Jeff's generosity. And that's kind of that for the year, but we will later on look at supporting some students who might like to attend summer camp programs as well. So this is a very sweet and sad story. So I'm delighted to be here and share a little bit of this story with you.
For everyone's information, the total sum of the gift from the Jeff Rosoff estate was $46,000. And so all of those funds will now be used to support student scholarships to Lac Du Bois up north.
So, from a board standpoint, what we need to do is have a motion to accept this gift.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the gift is accepted. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
here.
Thank you.
We'll return to our normal flow of agenda, and that is the student spotlight. So this evening, we have some students here from our first step into education in St. Peter at the South Elementary.
We have a lot of props here, so we gotta make some room, don't we all? All right, gonna make room for me? Get them mixed up, sorry about that. Here we go. All right, well, first of all, we are pretty excited to be here, aren't we? It's pretty excited. I have with me Ala Ahmed and Ashaya Wright, and they are young engineers at South Elementary who happen to be in Mrs. Schultz's first grade room, right? And so we thought we would take the opportunity to just share with you a little bit about how we connect what we learn in reading class in this case, and we use it and apply it down in our STEAM room. So I'm going to allow them to tell you a little bit about their creations, and we'll talk a little bit about the connections. So I would also like to welcome Khadija Ahmed, who is Ala's mom, and Molly Meyer, who is Ashaya's mom, who are also in the audience. So you know what, I think we'll let Ala start by telling what you learned here. What were you talking about?
The little boy was afraid of thunder.
Okay, what happened then?
His grandpa came, and then his mom and dad had to leave. And then his grandpa played a little bit game with his dog and him. And then it was time to go to bed. And then he went to bed with his dog. And then the thunder came, so he got scared. And then his grandpa heard that sound, so he came and brought him a little water. And then he read him a little bit of stories, and then he wasn't afraid of thunder anymore.
Okay, so one of the things you learned that comes with a storm is what? What comes when a storm is coming?
Wind
And so you learned a little bit about
Wind vanes.
wind vanes, sometimes known as weather vanes too. So they learned about how they work. And then you had a problem that you had to solve, didn't you, Ashaya? So when you went down to STEM, or STEAM, what did Mrs. Potts tell you was the problem? What did you have to figure out?
We had to figure out this was not going well because this thing was not very sticking up.
Right. Did Mrs. Potts give you this all put together?
No, me and my partner did it.
So you and your partner get plate and tape and more tape and more tape, right? And a paper cup, a pencil, and a straw, and some cardboard. And what did you have to create?
Had to create a wind field.
A wind vane, yes. And what did you use? What else did you use that we didn't break?
We
Test it.
used a fan, and it didn't work the first time, but I went back and it worked now.
Right. So what's one of the things that you learned in STEAM if something doesn't work the first time?
We go back again and fix it.
Yeah. And what else have you learned in STEAM?
We make houses, and we get to like build houses. If you want to make trains, you can do like a box and do like markers in it.
Okay. And what are some things that you learned from working with a partner, Alla?
Never give up.
Never give up. And when you made your project, did it work the first time? No? So what did you do?
Went and fixed it.
And did it work the second time? Still didn't work? So then what did you do?
Fixed it.
Fixed it again. And when you're working with a partner, what do you do if you can't agree on something?
Like you do rock, paper, scissors, or another game.
Yeah, you've got ways to problem solve. And then when you tested it, did it work? Did it work the last time? Yeah, all right. So in STEAM, that's what they're given. They're given a problem. They're not given a whole lot of directions. And I think both of them shared with me that they had to put their plates the other direction, which I think is interesting because they're both opposite directions now. So they're just two wonderful examples of what follows through with you don't give up, right? And we work hard and we just keep trying, right? So thank you for letting us present.
You want
Do
to
you have any questions? And I can tell you they do work because I brought them in and it's rather windy tonight. So they work. I didn't look down to see what direction the wind was coming from. Any questions?
Just a comment. You know, every month we get to have some students come before us. And I think this is the two I'm going to remember. That was great. Thank you.
They're memorable. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you both.
Great job.
All right. I see our student representative is away doing other things tonight. So if we move into our action items, the first item we have underneath action, we've already accomplished the approval of the Rossoff gift. We have a couple of other things. In fact, the other three things are all required by state statute in one form or another. And we do them every year at this time. And the first one is the approval of the World's Best Workforce Report. Dr. Peterson?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, included in your packet is the annual report that's presented to the school board in preparation for a December 1st submission to the state of Minnesota. The report that you see is not the one that will be submitted, but a summary template is filled out on an annual basis with feedback coming back to the district sometime in the spring. Ms. Engeldinger and Mr. Doherty will speak to the general areas. You'll recall that the instructional program committee met last week, had an opportunity to review the initial draft of this report, and does recommend its approval later tonight.
That's a tough act to follow. With the World's Best Workforce Report is hopefully almost as exciting as...
Did everything go right away?
No,
or-
we kept trying.
We kept trying.
We kept,
Still
and we
trying.
will continue to try. The World's Best Workforce Report, as Dr. Peterson said, is mandated by MDE. The report that you see in front of you is, however, different from what gets submitted to the state. That's a template that we fill in and do some bulleted summaries, and then we get some feedback from them, mostly about our goals, our SMART goals, whether we met those goals or not, and how we can continue to improve those. The 5 areas have stayed the same since the inception of the idea of the World's Best Workforce Plan. School readiness, 3rd grade literacy achievement gap, college and career readiness for all, and high school graduation. Last year we added the district staff development report. It's still a separate report, but they just asked for us to submit all of this in one place. This is also for anyone who cares to peruse this document. It is also linked on our website. According to the area, the principals work in obviously Mrs. Prafke worked on school readiness, Mr. Doherty and Mrs. Elke tag team third grade literacy. We all work on closing the achievement gap, and the last two areas, career and college readiness for all in high school graduation, fall under my umbrella. So if you have any questions going through this, I would say the most important thing to look at would be our SMART goals under each of them, and they're listed as a student achievement goal. We adjust those each year according to what achievement level we hit previously. The thing to remember as you're going through this is that these goals were actually set a year ago. All of this data is reporting on last school year. So we're working on our SMART goals for the current school year that you'll hopefully see us back here reporting on next year. Most of in the school readiness area, they continue to use the same benchmarks and same tests, and the school readiness SMART goal was met last year. Third grade literacy, I'll pass off to Mr. Doherty.
Yeah, so third grade literacy, as Ms. Engeldinger mentioned, I work with Mrs. Elke on talking about the structures, the framework, the strategies, the initiatives that go along with that. We obviously use the third grade MCA results to measure the outcome of that, and our SMART goal is directly tied to that. Based on our last year's data, we did not make our goal, and generally speaking, we always look at the previous year's goal and try to increase that by 2%, and we were not able to meet that this last year, which sparked some much powerful conversation about literacy programming across the district, alignment of literacy, especially at our earliest levels, all the way down the preschool level. With this year, really digging in deep with that. The next area is the closing of the achievement gap. There are a few changes from the previous year with that on page 6, basically being the breakdown of the comparisons of different groups of students, more aligned with the federal student groups. For the last number of years, there's been a difference between the student groups being represented at the state level, and then the federal level was a little bit different. And so with the rollout of the North Star reporting system in 2018, those were adjusted. So you'll see that in the report on page 6, at the very bottom of page 6. And based on our community group that gets together to talk about the world's best workforce, our goal last year was taking a look at achievement data, and specifically in math, with our English speaking students versus our English language students. And we did make that goal. We were able to focus in and pinpoint, and as Annette had said, the SMART goals, the state always wants to be really specific. And so in that sense, we really kind of drilled down and noticed an area of need in that gap, and that was able to close, but we want to also continue our English-speaking students going up on that as well. So we did close it, but we do realize there's still some work to do there.
Pass it over to you for.
Yeah, career and college readiness is an area that I guess I'll talk more about. Thinking about the changes that you'll see in this section for next year's report, the things that we're currently doing a little bit differently. As you all know, we have a new position in the area of college and career readiness. So I'll be looking to Mandy Quist for help not only in setting this student achievement goal, but in changing some of the ways that we report about it in here. I highlighted on page 8, Opportunity Day. That was a new experience for us last year at the high school. As you know, we offer the ACT to all juniors, and in an effort which started as attempting to find space, to find quiet, closed off space from the other 3 grades, our counselors came up with the idea of having each grade focus on some area of college and career readiness. So our 9th graders attended college and career tours at MSU, South Central College, Bethany, and they listened to a career speaker at South Central College as well. All of our sophomores were scheduled to take the pre-ACT on that day, juniors the ACT, and our seniors engaged in job shadowing of their choice. with some reflection, with some planning ahead of time and some reflection after in their homerooms. Changes coming for that day. That day was a huge success. I mean, we thought that went really well for all of our students. You'll see at least one change in the juniors' opportunity to self-select with the help of their guidance counselors and families. They'll self-select either the ACT, the ASVAB, or the AccuPlacer, whichever is more appropriate for their future plans. And I've also highlighted the MCIS, that Career Information System we have replaced with Naviance, and we're full steam ahead with implementing Naviance. One of the areas that reflects especially college readiness are our ACT scores. So I'd like to highlight those, obviously, because we continue to have very strong ACT scores. You will notice that it says 2018, and just so you're aware, those are the 2018 grads. So these were not the results of the kids who took the test on Opportunity Day. They were our most recent graduates. Moving on to high school graduation, that one is, we did not meet that goal. In fact, our high school graduation rate dipped. A change in the state for last year was they reported not only on the 4-year rate, but now they'll continue to also report on the 7-year graduation rate. So following those kids who maybe just didn't walk across the stage with their peers that they started with in 9th grade, but hopefully most of them finish that first summer school session post graduation, but some continue on, and we track those as well. That one feels to me, that one is hard to put a percentage anything below 100%, but our feedback from the state on other years when we have said that that's our goal was that it had to be a more realistic, achievable goal. If you have any questions on this, we're happy to try to answer.
Well, I think one of the things that'd be nice to highlight in our report is we have a long time been working on concurrent enrollment and college in the schools. And this report indicates that in the year that was being monitored, there were 1,186 college credits earned by students concurrently enrolled at St. Peter High School. And someone put a number on that using some basic user fees, and that represents in excess of $333,000 worth of college earned while still in our building, and I think that's significant. Also to note that college graduation, the goal that was set was 95%, and you fell just, I don't know how you get a percentage less than that, but slightly less. So those are two things that sometimes when you put the numbers to it, it changes the story just a little bit.
Yeah, the concurrent enrollment number, we're very pleased with that. The dollars saved for families increased by about $50,000 with increasing the number of courses offered. And that's one thing that we're working on for next school year, especially with the help of Mandy Quist, is adding more concurrent course offerings in the CTE areas, and starting to have conversations with South Central College about articulated courses there. So that's exciting. And we have qualified, certified instructors in that area who could currently offer certifications or credits in those areas.
Mr. Chair, I'm on the board rep on the advisory task force, or advisory committee, and we spent about 2 hours. Hard working 2 hours the other night or a couple of weeks ago, and really walked through this entire report and had a lot of questions answered. So when it comes time, and I expect the committee chair will want to make the motion. I'll be happy to second the motion.
And a motion to accept is in order.
So moved.
And I'll second.
So we have a motion to consider approval of the world's best workforce report for 2017, 2018. Is there any further questions or comments for our presenters? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion carries, and the report is approved.
Thank you.
Next item we have tonight is the approval of the site and system plans for 2018, 2019. Dr. Peterson?
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the board. On an annual basis, the school district administrative staff at both the system and the site level develop strategic plans that are based off of the long-range strategic plan developed by the school board. So you'll recall that the board has a 4-year strategic plan. Sets annual priorities at the board level, which then become district or superintendent goal areas and strategic priorities. Those, structure is the same structure used in all of our systems. And so that is why there are so many of those plans in the board packet. And you'll notice that the top part of every single one of those plans is identical. It's the board vision, the board mission, the strategic direction, and the core beliefs. Then at the site and system levels, those groups engage in conversations similar to what the board have about how does North Elementary, or how does the office support staff, or how does the custodial staff work and identify goals that they can achieve that support the district's mission. And so we bring those on an annual basis to reinforce our commitment to continuous improvement. And then those groups use that strategic plan as their work plan for the school year.
This does require a motion to approve for 18-19.
Move to approve the site and system plans for 18-19.
Questions for Dr. Peterson or our principal?
Which committee did this go through before it came here?
The board sets its own strategic plans. All of our principals set, all of them have a lead system that reviews those prior to it coming to the board. So it doesn't go to a board subcommittee, it just comes straight to the board. That's typically what we've done.
I mean, I doubt that when I just think we just had something of similar ilk that went before a committee before it came to the board. This seems like a document that should be reviewed at a committee level or study session level.
We sure could.
I mean, we have a study session coming up, correct?
December.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And so, I mean, I don't think there's going to be drastic changes. I just think it's not real. It seems like there's a potential of good discussion points that might be better handled in a study session.
We could absolutely do that.
Ben?
I mean, this is I don't know that I disagree, but this is a 30,000-foot level document.
Right.
So are you thinking that we're going to talk about 30,000-foot level or like action steps? Because if we're talking about action steps to these things, we can absolutely talk about those in a study session at any time after it's approved. That really wouldn't affect its approval. So are you thinking we might have different strategic priorities, or do you think we might want to participate in the action?
I think, well, possibly both. You know, I think the area that we're supposed to hang is 30,000 feet, and so, you know, to ask a principal, why did you put this down as one of your strategic priorities? What triggered that we have talked about or that we had in our plan that made you think this is the direction we want to go would be, you know, I think a decent question.
We have an opportunity to put anything we want on study sessions. At the moment, this is sitting as an approval, and we have a motion to approve and a second. So if you don't want to do that, you have to get a significant number of us to vote no, and have it come back at a later date. Or we can I think we've only got 1 or 2 things on our study session for December right now.
Yeah, it's brief.
It can be reviewed in greater thoroughness at that time if you desire.
Well, I think if it passes, I would move, because I won't vote for it, because I think it should have been reviewed by a committee or at a study session. But it doesn't mean I don't agree with it. It's just I would like to discuss it. I want to be clear about that. But if it does pass, I would still hope that it might be considered as an agenda item at the study session anyways, post-approval.
Further discussion? We have a motion to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
And the motion carries. We will put it on the agenda for our study session. Next item we have is also a mandatory one for this time of year. It is the compulsory attendance report. And this is the report where we look at all of the various places people can attend or go to school in our community. That's right, Peterson?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the board, again, on an annual basis, the board receives data that's collected by the school district, mandated by the state, submitted to the state in a report later this school year. That does identify exactly what you just said, homeschool and private school enrollment. Mr. Doherty has long been our lead administrator in the collection of that data. So he's here to walk us through the spreadsheet and help us with any questions that you may have prior to considering approval.
Thank you, Dr. Peterson. Mr. Chair, members of the board, in your board packet, you have a 2-page document. It's basically a spreadsheet. Every year at the beginning of the year, actually mid-August, I start receiving letters from families in our school district, either to initiate homeschooling or to continue homeschooling, and then I also request from our private schools in the area, just numbers of students that are in the St. Peter home district, and then I just compile them on the spreadsheet. They're broken down, the top section, homeschool, and as you keep going down, there's private schools, and they're broken down into 10-year data, and then tallied up to the right. So you can see at each site, whether it's homeschooled or a private school, the numbers that have fluctuated over the years. And then as you go all the way to the bottom of the second page, you can see our 18 and 19 final numbers broken down by kindergarten all the way through 18-year-old 12th graders. And you can see those numbers are pretty much the same as they have been the last 4 to 5 years. So with our complete number of students, either homeschool or private school, that are in the resident district at 121 currently.
Questions for Mr. Doherty about this report? The numbers have been remarkably stable the last 4 or 5 years. They don't really shift around very much. To accept this report, we require a motion.
So moved.
Approve. We have a motion and a second to approve the compulsory attendance report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and the motion carries.
Thank you.
Which brings us to the end of our action items tonight. First thing we have up is also a state deal, radon testing report. And Dr. Peterson, you have Mr. Bachman, I believe, with us.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Mark Bachman, our operations and maintenance supervisor, is with us tonight to provide an overview of the report that was included in your board packet that details the testing that was done and the results, the retesting, the results. So some good news from Mr. Bachman here tonight.
Yes, thank you, and more testing to come. Yes. In 2012, 2013, St. Peter Schools first tested its buildings for radon per recommendation from the Department of Education, Department of Health. This past year, 2017, 2018 year, was 5 years since we had done that last, so IEA helped us test our building. I think it was 261 rooms that have direct contact with the ground. in one way or the other. So those are the rooms that need to be tested. And good news was that all but 14 of those rooms came back meeting the expectation. I believe I have to look it up because it's not your everyday term, but picocuries per liter are what we're looking at. And don't ask me anything else about that other than we need to be below 4. And in all but 14 locations that came to be the fact. The one building that we had high levels in was the Hoffman Learning Center. So we retested that in June right away because the levels, it seemed odd. And after a month of testing there, all those levels came out to be actually in compliance. So we only have 2 others that are left that we can't do until this winter, and they'll be starting that up again in December, and that's the coaches' offices and the boys' locker rooms. So I don't know what that means, but those are only 2 locations, and then we'll retest Hoffman Learning Center to just make sure it is indeed, now that it's all closed up again for winter, within those levels.
John?
Yeah, how, are we going to test the Davis Street building at all?
Was that not tested?
That's the ALC?
Yeah, it was listed as Rock Bend, ALC, instead of M Bend.
Sorry,
Yep, so it was tested also.
all right.
Kind of interesting, I just had a radon test done, hadn't read this today. Ed, your 14 and my 1 make 15. We're slightly over that 4, and I'm afraid I'm starting to learn more about it than I wanted to know.
Well, the reality is that Minnesota is our soil is made to help trap radon in our basements. A high level of residences in the state of Minnesota have radon in their homes. And so it's somewhat not surprising that it's the Hoffman Learning Center that came out high, because that's run off of furnaces, just like your house is. It doesn't run off of an HVAC system like our other buildings are. So there's less airflow going through it. And if we do come up where we have mitigation that we need to take place, that's the solution, is to get more airflow into those areas to help bring those levels down. So we'll test, these second round of tests are only a couple of days each, so by January, we'll have results back and know if we need to do further mitigation in any of these locations. Once that is done, then we'll report these to the state of Minnesota, but they don't want these results until we get everything corrected.
All right. Thank you, sir. Next item we have tonight is part of our information item from our South Central Service Cooperative. And we happen to have a director and a longtime supporter of St. Peter Schools, Mr. Keith Winter, with us to update us on our relationship and many things the Service Cooperative does for us.
I got put behind a radon gas. Really? No. Well, good evening.
One gas to the other.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, members, Dr. Peterson, thanks for allowing us to come and talk about the South Central Service Co-op, of which you're a member. Our South Central Service Co-op continues to be a great organization that helps out member districts. And we believe we help a lot of student development and student help. So we have a lot of educational programs, insurance, and Glenn has passed out something that says all that. And as you know, I appreciate the opportunity to serve as St. Peter Public Schools representative on the board. I hope we continue to work for betterment for your processes and taking care of kids. And we continue to work on that and enjoy it, and would love to continue to serve in that capacity if given the opportunity. But I brought the big hitter here, Glenn Morris, with me to talk about the programs. So thank you for allowing us to sit in here, and I'll turn it over to Glenn.
I thought you did a great job. I was about to say thank you and good night. But I do appreciate the opportunity to report on our service cooperative. I've looked back. St. Peter Public Schools and the South Central Service Cooperative have been in partnership for over 4 decades. And I'm getting older, I believe. Our mission is simple. We just believe in benefit through collaboration. And as you could tell from the handout that I provided you, we have a lot of services that move around like the wind depending on the month and the the given topics, but largely we help our members to grow their own capacity to do three things: either to lead organizations through our administrative services. We like to help our members to grow their own talent through our professional development, and then certainly to engage our students through our teaching and learning. And so I've organized the sheets that I passed out with you so you could begin to see at least the labels on many of the services that we offer in those areas. For a couple quick highlights, because I realize that these meetings kind of do drag on, I wanted to share with you that my first concern when Dr. Peterson asked me to come tonight was, are you asking about administratively or financially how we're all doing together? So I looked up our group insurance, which is a big ticket item for a district your size. And I'm pleased to report that as far back as I looked, all the way down to 2012, for whatever rates that you have been calculated for your increases each year, our cooperative pool has been able to bring those down fairly considerably, over 10% this past year. So I believe that brings a lot of advantage to your staff. And I would also report that the group insurance project this year has brought a full-time wellness coordinator to work with your school district staff or the persons within your district that like to plan for your own wellness. We've also worked with our Blue Cross to bring out 4 unique programs that the typical company in this area wouldn't be able to leverage except for the size of our pools, and those programs include things like a doctor on demand or a way to what they call their vital sharing program, so that if you're having a simple procedure, you have a way to look at the rates all around this area to compare those costs and find out where you really can save some dollars if that's an issue. And there are other programs for helping you to reduce your diabetes, your heart health, prevention, and even a Live to Learn, what they call their now online mental health program. So I think as we begin to work with your staff through wellness and other areas, we're looking to prevent situations with our group insurance as well as help you to protect yourselves. But mostly I wanted to share tonight that St. Peter Public Schools is the perfect size school district to work with as a partner. You're able to pilot programs and opportunities that other districts really find difficult to move through many layers, if you will, of filters before they get to an outcome. And with that, we've enjoyed, even in these last couple of years, things like the Vision 2020 program, which is an innovation research zone that the state has permissioned us to take a look at how you can continue to work with student-centered learning and find innovative ways to question maybe some of the statutory laws that ask us to measure things like seat time rather than the outcomes that we look for students, or rather than asking that our students assure their mastery at every level before moving on. So those have been some good programs. Recently, a micro-credential program was developed with all of our co-ops together in tandem, and St. Peter is providing that leadership for the entire state with more staff employed now in one of the micro-credentials to try to assure that there are many avenues to showing professional growth, and if we could find ways that help better mirror your strategic plan or the pillars that you hold up that are the concerns for your district, then you want to be able to reward teachers for helping to improve themselves with the missions that you all share in common. So I really thank you for that kind of leadership, because the work that you do in St. Peter helps us to move those programs and projects over to other school districts in our area. And then lastly, I would pick on a couple, your college and career readiness initiatives, for which there are many. And we heard tonight on your agenda, you had your World's Best Workforce Plan. St. Peter's been really instrumental working not only through our Perkins program, which is the improvement to our career and technical programs, but we have a program called Guiding Pathways to Success, where the Greater Twin Cities United Way has provided some dollars granting us to not only help develop career pathways that articulate what you do with post-secondary of the workforce, but more importantly, they assure that we're reaching all students, so that those students that might be disenfranchised either by economics or community, that we're taking the time to really identify that once we get their feet onto a pathway, they'll have a better sense of assuring that they'll get a job that's well-paying in their future, and that starts in high school, complete with college credit to boot. So I think it's really unique that we're able to focus on maybe the students that we didn't imagine were going to jump into a career lens in front of their decision-making for what programs to take. And that's been very helpful, and I'm glad for your leadership there, Dr. Peterson. Lastly, I would bring to heart maybe one of my pet programs. Our service cooperative has a Center for Interactive Learning and Collaboration. And this program allows your classroom teachers to kind of expand outside of their classrooms into the rest of the world through our cultural organizations. So for example, we've got over 200 museums, space agencies, marine biology agencies, art institutes, baseball halls of fame, football halls of fame. These organizations provide engaging programming that is aligned with the standards that you're teaching in your instruction, and now we can have direct interactive discussions with students while in their classroom for an electronic field trip that not only saves money but develops relationship and engages those students in things that help to apply what they're learning in that classroom. So we've been very involved with growing that worldwide. We've got over 50, 60,000 members, including in this area, that take part in those services. And the Service Cooperative is proud to expand on what we're doing to bring that value back to you. So that would be my report tonight. Are there any questions? I'd be happy to go on and on. Yes, sir.
Where are we as far as size of school district, as far as people under South Central Service Cooperative? Are we middle, bigger, smaller?
Think about this. I wouldn't call you big, but I would say that you're near that big top. You know, certainly Mankato, Faribault,
Right.
Fairmont, but you're really, with the size that you're at, you're able to work together as an administrative team where you could get some recommendations to try a program and move forward efficiently. And it's that efficiency that really helps us to partner well.
And then, who's our representative? Because I don't know if the county commissioner or city council member or mayor, and I know none of the school board members are on the board of directors, so who's our representative?
Well, currently, Mr. Wenner serves as our vice chair and has always kept you at heart. And I think we've had, was it yourself that has been to a couple of our meetings?
I have. I just haven't
Yeah.
gotten minutes from a meeting in a couple of years now, so.
Dr. Peterson, you received those minutes with each of our meetings, I believe?
Sure do.
Please share them with your board. Yeah.
Well, we've had a long, as you say, 40 years, Glenn, and it's been a relationship that's worked well for us and has certainly provided an incubator for ideas. And the nice thing about them is that some of them work and some of them don't. And the ones that don't, we're not stuck with. And the ones that do, we need to keep growing and see where they lead us. And that's been a good relationship for all of us, because none of us can do it all on our own anymore, nor could we ever. And so I think the need for the service co-op continues, and we appreciate what you've done and continue to do for us, and we look forward to hearing from you. So,
Well, thank you, Mr.
thank you.
Chair. I appreciate the opportunity.
One thing I just wanted to add is, as you notice, this is statewide, and that's one of the things that we've really done. We've organized, we've had a total statewide MSC board for quite a while, but we're really concentrating on working together and providing a statewide service program in insurance and lobbying and all the things. We're really getting together to work together more in purchasing and a lot of things. So that MSC board has kind of directed the directors to get on that, to be more consolidated and offer the same thing in all the districts.
Yep. Share your assets, don't duplicate.
Thank you.
Streamline. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you very much.
I'd like his email address. Yep. Thank you.
Next, we have our community education report and profile. Ms. Tan?
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to come and share the good things that have been happening in community and family education. This is our annual report, and you'll notice that it's covering last year's classes and events, so it's the 2017-18 stats that you'll see. If you look at the chart that we have listed, you'll see that we had another year of growth, which is great. Over the last 5 years, we've had a 27% increase in the number of people that we serve in our community and a 13% increase from last year. As I looked at the data, I just saw that we had a steady increase across all of our programs. There wasn't one thing that was really leading the charge. There were more students involved in after-school enrichment opportunities in our school-age care program. We had more adults taking our classes like the life classes and the general interest things. So we just saw a nice, steady growth throughout everything, which is good to report. We serve adults through the following programs. Our Adult Basic Education, which offers GED classes and helps adults obtain their diploma. We also offer English language learner classes, and we help people study for their citizenship test that is given to them. Also, we offer early childhood family education parent classes. We have adult enrichment classes, aquatics, special events, and different programs. And if you look at the 3 photos down below, those just sort of give you an overview of the things that we do. The first class is our English language learners, and they were involved in a cooking class in that one. And then we have our annual Women Celebrating Women event that we are the ones that take all of the tickets for and help plan and organize that. And we have monthly painting classes at Jake's Pizza for people, so kind of a fun thing for them to do. With our children and youth, we serve them through programs like ECFE classes, the School Readiness Preschool Program, School Age Care, after-school enrichment classes, the Summer VIP program through the rec department, aquatics, special events, and other programs. And so you'll notice in those pictures, the very first one is a group of parents and their children playing in an ECFE class. School Age Care is the next photo. And then the last one is some of our preschool students on a field trip. So lots of fun opportunities for people. If you look at the very next page, you'll see a list of all of our community partners. And I always like to tell people that we are really fortunate to be living in St. Peter, because there are a lot of organizations and businesses that really get that idea of supporting our mission of providing lifelong learning opportunities. And you'll notice we have over 27 partnerships that we worked with. Some of the new ones last year, the Greater Mankato Diversity Council, they helped us with some life classes and some adult enrichment programs. The DNR did some youth and adult enrichment and came into our SAC program and did some things with the kids. Region 9, they helped us do the It's Time to Talk About Race Forum. And the Southwest Minnesota Housing Partnership offered homebuyer education classes. So you'll see we have a variety of organizations and businesses that really help us to provide the programming that we offer. If you look at the very next page, you'll see program highlights. And we know that when students are involved in after-school enrichment programs, they see gains in their critical thinking skills and also in their problem-solving abilities. These activities also help them with building social skills and gaining a better self-confidence. And so we really try to provide programming for children that sparks their interests, that helps them explore new things and makes learning fun. And some of the highlights are our STEM classes. We offer a variety of things for students in grades kindergarten through 6th grade. If you look at the very bottom photo on the far left-hand corner, you'll see some of our students in the turn left, turn right robots in sight class. That was for kindergarten and 1st grade. We also offer Prairie Fire Children's Theater every summer. If you look at the photo right above that, that is from the Alice in Wonderland production, where we had 84 children participate. Continues to be something that kids look forward to every year. We also offer a variety of art classes, whether they're make and take art classes or things through the art center in the summertime. There's painting classes. You'll notice several of the pictures focus on students involved in either crafts or arts, doing the sidewalk chalk. In addition, we provide music lessons for kids. They can learn how to play guitar, piano, pick up a violin or a cello, and we also offer voice lessons. During the summer, we provide the 5th grade band lessons for students that are coming into school ready and excited to be part of band. We also offer jazz bands for grades 6 through 8 during the school year. And then a program that I think is really important, the Teen Pantry, which is an offshoot of the Children's Weekend Backpack Food Program. We help spread the word about the Teen Pantry. We volunteer there. And this past year, there were 40 students that were enrolled in the program and were able to come on a weekly basis during the school year and get food to bring home to their families. Also, we had 66 students that participated in the REC VIP program. We provide funds to them each year because we believe in this program. It's a great leadership thing that is provided. If you look at the next section, our school age care program, we were able to grow into 2 sites last year. So both elementary schools had a section of school age care. There were 35 children that participated in the morning care program and 136 in the afternoon. And you'll notice that we were staffed with 1 coordinator, 4 assistants, a lot of Gustavus Work Study students, and then several high school students. And new this year, we have hired a youth development and enrichment coordinator, Tori Sotner, and part of her role is overseeing the SAC program and then also helping us with our youth enrichment. And we're really excited to have her on board. If you look at the very last page, the first thing is highlighting our aquatics program. And if you look at that very first photo, those are kids in our school age care program that are participating in Wet and Wild SAC Fridays. So during the winter months, when it's hard to get the kids outside, we like to bring them up to the pool every Friday and let them play and splash and have a great time. Our aquatics program continues to grow. We had 195 people that participated in the 3 different levels of water aerobics classes that we offer. And we had 293 kids who took swimming lessons through us, which was an increase from last year. Our total attendance at the pool was 4,554 swimmers. I need to tell you, this is the number of dips in the pool. So if you took a water aerobics class and it met 4 times, we counted you 4 times. But I think it's important to show that our pool is a busy place. It's booked all the time. We have a lot of events and activities that are happening there. And this number of 4,000 is really great considering last year we closed our pool a little bit earlier so that we could begin the roofing project at the middle school. Another new staff member that we have is our aquatics coordinator, and that is Alyssa Lager. She took over for Hannah Carlsrud, and so we are excited to have her on board and look forward to the connections that she's made with our high school students and hopefully getting more lifeguards. In our adult basic education program, we continue to be part of that with Becky Hawkins and her staff. They do a great job of providing services to people. We had 86 people that either took our GED classes, diploma, or English language classes. In addition to the United States, I want to tell you about the other countries of people that were represented there. China, El Salvador, Ethiopia, Honduras, Mexico, Romania, Guatemala, Somalia, and Thailand. So we have a broad range of people, and it's exciting to see all of the people that are coming and going from those classes. Another program that is offered is the Bridge to Readiness Work Program, and we had 14 people that participated. This is a great program. It helps people learn the skills that they need to get a job, and then also to continue and be a valuable member of the place that they work at. So we're excited to be part of that. With our adult enrichment, in our AARP tax services, we were able to do 846 state and federal tax forms for people that are either senior citizens or low-income earners. It's a great program, staffed by a lot of really dedicated people who work hard, and our phone rings off the hook from January until April with people calling for appointments. But we are thrilled to be part of it because we believe in this program and are happy that we're able to offer that. The St. Peter Food Co-op continues to be a really popular organization for classes, and if you look to the right, you'll see one of our instructors doing a demonstration. There were 443 people that took part in those classes. Our Life, which is Learning is Forever classes, continues to be really popular. We had 425 people that participated. Gabriella Raimhilt does a great job of coordinating this program, which is a venture of the Recreation Department, the Senior Center, and my office. We're just excited to have people in there learning and growing and developing relationships with one another. This past year, we really had a focus on equity and inclusion in our community. And so we were intentional about offering a lot of events and things for the public. And the first thing we did was to offer the It's Time to Talk About Race Community Forum. If you look to the right, you'll see a photo from that event. There were 85 people that participated. This was a great opportunity for people to be able to share their ideas, their thoughts about race in an environment that was non-threatening. And from that, I had a group of community members that came to me and said, what's next? They were excited about the prospect of doing more in our community. And so a group was formed called #OurSt. And we have been meeting on a regular basis since January. We'll actually be meeting again tomorrow night. So I am really happy to be part of that group and excited about the prospect of making our community a more welcoming place for people. In November of last year, we had the Somali Artifact Museum come. It's a traveling show, and if you look at the lower left-hand corner of this page, you'll see a photo of one of the people from that show. There were 156 community members that came through to see that. And then Region 9, we had an equity learning cohort that took place. It began in March and it ended in October of this year. There were about 14 participants that came to learn about best practices of equity inclusion, and we have a lot of excited people to do some good work in our community because of that. In March, we offered the Midwest of Somalia film and panel discussion, and you'll see a photo of that in the lower right-hand corner of this page. There were 220 people that came. It was a great night for people to learn about one another and be able to ask questions. And then in April, we had the St. Peter Fiesta, which was held, it was organized by a variety of community members, including Gustavus and the Recreation Department. We had the world language classes from the high school involved. It was a great event with a lot of different people participating. There were music, dancers, games. The high school students prepared displays about each one of the South American countries, and it was just a really fun event. And if you look at the lower middle picture, you'll see some of the dancers from that program. So you can see that our office has been really busy. I have great staff. I'm so proud to work with all of them. Jessica Schrumpf, who's our secretary, and Alina Webster, who is our classes assistant. They both do a great job of answering phones, helping people out in the community, and we're excited about the work that we do.
Questions or clarifications for Tammy while we have her? Gosh, you're busy.
Mr. Chair, if I could just say a word about Tammy. Tammy provides, a great level of leadership for our school district in being that connector with so many different community partners back into our school system. We continue to work with folks within our community who say, oh yeah, community ed, is that part of, that's Park and Rec, right? Like, no, that's a part of the school district. And Tammy is that, like I said, that connector. And obviously through her annual reports really demonstrates that we're getting tremendous value with her leadership, so thank you, Tammy.
Well, thank you.
All right. Our next and last information item tonight is first reading of some policy revisions. Mr. Dixon or Mr. Leonard, either of you want to comment about that?
Yes. So what you have in your packets is language revisions from a few different chapters. I think they represent very minor changes, like eliminating a single word on page 134 in your packet, which is chapter 2, to small additions to reflect current law, like Chapter 5, page 149, or also Chapter 8, page 154. And then some language changes to provide more clarity in the policy, like adding medical to the statement that you need from a physician or a physician's assistant or nurse in Chapter 7, page 151. So there's nothing really earth-shatteringly different. It's part of that policy review where they're good policies and they work. They just need a little tending, like a garden.
And this then is what we look at as our first reading, so you're encouraged to fine-tooth comb them if you have any other things you wish to add or feedback to, please get it to the policy group. Our intention would be to bring this for a second reading next month on adoption, since these changes are so minor.
Yeah, if you have any questions, I really like what Becky and Paul do to show you the changes are highlighted, but if you see something else in the non-highlighted portions, happy to look at that as well. That's what the first reading's for.
All right, that gets us to our information set and on to reports. And tonight we'll hear from the principals, the superintendent, and then board members around the table.
We can never build another school.
No. Not enough room.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. Just here tonight to present a little bit or talk a little bit about what's happening in early childhood. We have conferences both last week and this week, and so those have been really well attended, so we're always happy to have folks in our building and get to see parents, and parents getting to see what their kids are doing at preschool. One of our goals in early childhood is to provide foundational experiences for kids. So we've started our first wave of field trips, mostly throughout our community. We've gone to the public library. We had a class go to Family Fresh for a tour and even got to see some of the ins and outs of how grocery stores work. We've also gone to the Gustavus. Dr. Aaron Banks has invited us up, and his education students actually did a lesson with our kids, so that was super exciting, and the kids love the foam pit, so that's always a great thing. And we have classes also going to the Children's Museum in Mankato. So that's just our first round. It slows down a little bit in the winter, and then we hit it hard again in the spring. Just providing those foundational experiences for kids to get out and see things in their community and so on. Continued focus on our literacy initiative. Our instructional coach, Lori Perret, has been instrumental in helping us get started with that, so we certainly appreciate her help. And then we're also focusing in on our programming for 1920 already. Our first school readiness open house is in the end of February, and so we want to get our programming in place so folks know what they'll be signing up for in the fall. So we're excited to have that starting and encourage people to watch the brochure for that date and time.
All right, and hello from South again. And there's a few things that have been going on. It seems like October was 100 years ago, the last time that I gave you an update. But a couple of things that have been going on with the 4th annual Pumpkin Fest was held. We had over 350 people come through our doors that night dressed. They get to dress in their Halloween costumes, and the classrooms decorate pumpkins, and the ever-famous corn dog dinner for $3, and Culver's ice cream is available. So it's just a great way for us to get families into our building and give them an opportunity to just have some great old-fashioned fun. We had pumpkin bags and just some various games that they could play in the building, and then the annual parade through the halls, which I need to remember every year, one loop. We'll just do one loop. We do two, and it's quite the event. We also have the privilege of working very closely with Minnesota State University Mankato, or Minnesota State University Mankato, yes. They have about 25 students that are currently in our classrooms. We take all of their Block 1 students, education students. They come, They are in our classrooms. They come 5 days a week, spend just the morning there. It's a wonderful first look at a classroom. They're engaged in all levels. They start out just doing a lot of observations and then reading with students and supporting the teachers, and they actually get a chance then to start doing some foundational skill work one-on-one with students and under the supervision of our teachers. And it's just great to see them have that opportunity to learn and grow just in that short time. Some of them have only had the opportunity to learn about education, and this is their first time to try it out with real live children. So we are happy to provide that experience for them. We also have a project called Project Team that we do, and that's a collaborative effort with another department at MSU, and they bring students that are pre-service. So this is their last experience before student teaching. And they have them come in and they're specifically working on targeted interventions. So we hope to identify some students that tutoring would be, and many times it's language pieces. So it just gives them a great opportunity to, again, to practice what they have learned. And we also get a chance to see what the growth is. They do take some statistics on the students that they work with and their development over that time. So those are a couple of projects that we have going on, along with collaborating with North Elementary. Darren and I have made it a pack, I guess, is that what it's called, Darren? But this year, we really have tried to align our literacy practices, and one of the things that we're doing differently is our staff meetings have really turned into instructional meetings, and we have a literacy team that we meet with, and we've kind of laid out, and the nice thing is Lori Perret is our instructional coach at South, and she is also early childhood, so she's kind of the bridge that goes from early childhood to South. And then Brittany Galetka is working, and the reading specialist, Kari Bly, and Ms. Hagan. We all are part of the literacy team and bring in middle school once a month for some meetings so that we really can look at what that scope of literacy looks like beginning at pre-K and taking it all the way through the 12th grade programming. So those are just a couple of things. So once a month we are meeting on different instructional practices, and along with the reinforcement of the PLC work that is starting the ELA work. We also had a readathon a couple of weeks. So for the entire day at South, there was a classroom that was working on reading, not just working on reading, but enjoying reading. We had a bear, a huge teddy bear that rotated from room to room with a book, and so we knew which classroom at all times was participating in that. We also had a snake discovery program today that was sponsored by the Parent Council. So a boa constrictor was there, and the students all had a chance to feel the snake and let him crawl around. So it was a great event for people who like snakes. So, but the students.
Snake discovery is much better than discovering a snake.
Yes, right. Let's be clear, it was that. Discovered we have a couple teachers that really love snakes too, so that was those little things that come up. And we too are having conferences, so we look forward to our second night of conferences tomorrow and all day on Wednesday. And it's just so fun to watch, especially the kindergarten parents come in, because this is their first conference, and the nice thing is they come in with a smile and they've been leaving with a smile. So we're excited to see them in our building.
I lost a bet last year with the North students and had a snake discovery draped around my neck. That was not fun.
I bet. No bets.
It was a bad bet. Yeah, not a snake bet, but yeah, there's definitely people are pretty geared up about snakes. I am not one of them. Greetings from North Elementary School. As Doreen mentioned, we have conferences going on as well. It's really nice, K-8 going all the way through with conferences last Thursday, tomorrow night until 7:30, and then all day on Wednesday. I do want to give a shout out to the teachers. They work so hard to make sure they try to get 100% participation out of the families. So if they have any downtime at all during conference nights or on Wednesday, they're calling parents. They know that they're truly a partner in their children's education. So I do want to say just great job, teachers, all the way across the district for making sure we're partnering with families and getting the families in and talking about learning. Also, I want to talk about our Veterans Day. We had a Veterans Day assembly. I want to thank Monica Hoffman, who is the daughter of June Hoffman, longtime FACS teacher at the high school. She came and spoke to all the students at North in our large assembly. Did a wonderful job just talking about all the armed services and her role in her 8 years serving in the Army Reserve. So thank you so much for that, Monica. We have our student government in action. Our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade student council has their annual food drive coming up next week. Over the years, multi tons of food that have been donated to the St. Peter area food shelf. So the eldest crew in the building used to be 6th graders. Now they're 4th graders. They get to get all that food, and we throw it all on the bus, and we take it down, and they all help unload in the St. Peter and the food shelf down there. And it's a great public service event that's organized by Mrs. Capone, our student council coordinator. So thank you so much, student council, for that. Can't wait to see how many cans that we collect. Also, early release last week. Every time we have an early release at North, we have a 30-minute buddy classroom time. So every classroom has a buddy classroom. They get together with that other classroom and do some kind of cross-age getting to know you activity. And their activity was creating a turkey disguise to try to keep all the turkeys safe as hunting season and Thanksgiving is right around the corner. So they had wonderful disguised turkeys that I know will be safe all the way through this week. Want to shout out to our fire department. Every year they get together an activity, roller skating. It's the old roller skates that are in the gym spaces for a good three weeks, I think, 3 to 4 weeks. It's so great to see the students working on an activity like that. A lot of times you see the teachers, the classroom teachers in there throwing on the old four-wheelers on each of their feet as well, just kind of building relationships with kids, falling down with them if they need to. But just another great opportunity for learning physical education. And then the North has their North Elementary has their winter concert coming up on December 11th. The St. Peter High School Performing Arts Center is on the calendar, and first show with 2nd graders will be at 6:30 and 30-minute increments after that for 3rd grade and 4th grade. So we're looking forward to that event as well.
All right, as mentioned, from pre-K all the way to 8, we're rocking the conferences. At the middle school, a little bit different setup where parents can schedule a 10-minute conference with any teacher that they choose. And as of last Friday, we had 727 individual conferences scheduled. So definitely a good decision to go to the elementary model with the conferences at the middle school. 2 weeks ago now, we were blessed to have members of the theater department from the high school come to the middle school and give us a little preview of the West Side Story show. A little bummed that the star of the show, Mr. Dixon, didn't make it, but came and provided a little preview of the West Side Story. And for the high school kids, my assumption is it was great practice for them and they got to build a little buzz. But for us, the benefit of that is huge. You put, I don't know how many, 30, 40 super positive role models in front of our students. And what a prime example of how hard work and collaboration can create something so amazing. Right after that performance, there were a handful of students, middle school students, in the office. Mr. Graff, is it too late to sign up for the middle school play? So it definitely worked. It was amazing. On Veterans Day, every single one of our students made a little field trip during their social studies class to the new Veterans Memorial at the park. And the purpose of that lesson was really to show our students that veterans are real people who have real connections to this community and have made a real sacrifice for us. That will, hopefully, the plan is that will be a yearly thing for our 5th graders. And 6th, 7th, and 8th will build on that with a lesson in social studies every Veterans Day. So this year, everybody went from here on out. The plan is just 5th graders to get that experience. And the last little piece here, something very, very exciting. Missy Terpstra, longtime paraprofessional for the district, thinking room supervisor at the middle school, was recently named Educational Support Professional of the Year by Education Minnesota. Truly a well-deserved honor. Missy is an amazing member of our family at St. Peter Middle School, and we definitely couldn't do without her. So congratulations, Missy.
I'd first like to report on our Lions Club Student of the Month. Claire Neusmeyer has been selected and will be presented to the Lions Club. Claire Neusmeyer is the daughter of Tim and Judy, and she has already decided on attending Marquette University starting in the fall, where she will be on their volleyball team. And again, Claire and I had just a really fun conversation when I was taking some notes about all of her activities that she's been involved with in high school. So congratulations to Claire. Last month, I reported that I was excitedly going to be attending the National FFA Convention. And I want to thank Gina Lilienthal and Michael Reeser and the group of kids that attended for that invitation. I flew out early in the morning and got home late that night, but it was 100% worth being a little bit tired the next day. There were, I believe, 64,000 FFA members in Indianapolis that day. It is truly a sea of blue in that city. And I just had a really great time, especially with the kids, but it was fun to watch them receive a national, our chapter was winning a nice award, got some recognition there, and that is a fascinating event that I look forward to attending again sometime. I would like to update everybody on what's going on in the world of AVID. Jen Maldonado and I had the opportunity to attend a training, and the training was in the facilitation of AVID modules. They have dozens of professional development 90-minute modules that now at least 2 of us in the district have permission and have been trained in delivering to the rest of staff. The Bush Foundation has provided the opportunity for St. Peter Middle and High School to attend the last 3 summer institutes. That comes with a high price tag, and so that has allowed us to really further our AVID trained teachers in the district. We don't have word that is going to continue, which that has been a really valuable part of our AVID teams. The training that Jen and I attended is hopefully pushing that training and the professional development and opportunities into our buildings, so to develop the capacity at our sites to do some of that training. So we're looking forward to sharing some of those modules with our staff. And of course, Mr. Graff brought up West Side Story. That's been all the buzz in weeks leading up to this past weekend and continuing on into this week. And I've got to say that was, I think, the most high-quality, impressive high school performance that I've attended anywhere. Those kids and their directors have worked for weeks and weeks, and they pulled it off. We added a performance based on attendance at Footloose last year, and the Sunday afternoon performance, we reached almost 500 guests at that. So that was well worth adding the additional performance. So thank you to Scott Hermanson, Robbie Deering, and Karen Steinhoff for working with our kids. It was an amazing show. We even had a member of the school board, Mr. Dixon, did a fantastic job. Not a very likable character in West Side Story. Yes, he did. He did a great job. There were other faculty members. There were other faculty members involved as well, who had a great time working with our kids. Our online ticketing system, when we heard really great comments on that. We were all nervous leading into it. It was a big event to have it be the first time we were using this. So thank you to Chris Overbo and Tammy Skinner and Pam Baker. Those three were really pivotal in pulling off that that ticketing system. Again, we had great comments. There weren't lines waiting for hours, stretching down to the gymnasium from the ticket booth. There was no general admission. Everybody knew where their seat was going to be, and At last report, 2,000, just over 2,000 people attended West Side Story this last weekend.
Wow. Questions for any of our administrators?
I have one comment. As a former blue coat myself, 1986 chapter president of St. Peter FFA.
Chapter president.
Yes.
Well done.
It's great to hear that a principal came to the national convention. I believe that more than likely is a first. And so our national convention was always in Kansas City. So it's just good to have FFA back
Great to be there.
rolling.
I thought I'd heard somewhere that the FFA National Convention is the biggest convention in the United States. Is that true?
It's the largest youth convention in the world.
Okay.
And I believe it is the largest convention in the U.S. You'll have to check that, but I know it's the largest youth. They can no longer, I believe they can no longer have it at Kansas because it's so big.
It's too
that
big, yeah.
Indianapolis is
Yeah.
able to host that many.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it spreads out from, it's at the convention center, it's at where the Pacers play, and they're out at the fairgrounds, they take over the city.
Did they make you dye your hand green?
They did not.
They did not?
But one fun fact, or piece of trivia from that place is that it's a thing to get a signature from somebody from all 50 states, and it's on everybody's blue coat. So,
Yep.
and that is where Mr. Reeser met his wife at the National FFA convention when she asked for his signature.
I still have my blue coat, mind you. It doesn't fit. But I have it.
Yeah, same. All right, they're gonna get my arm in the face.
What, Annette didn't mention it, but there was an outstanding veterans program at the high school. Mr. Chair, you were there, and we're on the head table, but I know for a fact that a number of the vets came up and talked to me after. They were very, very happy, and I think it just helps us all the way around to keep that contact strong. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for attending.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Peterson?
Yes, Mr. Chair, just two items to report on tonight. The first of which is Mark Bachman and myself heard from ISG today. That's the architect and engineer firm that we use out at the high school. ISG is preparing 4 concept designs for additional parking options at the high school that they said they will have in our hands by mid-December. With that sort of timeline, it gives us an opportunity for our facilities committee, for the finance committee, and then the full board through study session or in general session to talk about what options you prefer, or throw all 4 back and ask them for some development. Really what we're trying to do is to address the accessibility parking and the distance between the parking lot and the building. And by moving on this timeline, it will ensure that we can get bids out if the board chooses to go down that path in the spring, construction or redesign or remodeling in the late spring, early summer, to make sure that we're ready to go for the next school year. So just wanted to put an update. Second thing I wanted to mention is that the St. Peter Education Foundation, which is a separate entity from our school board, as you know, but does great work to support innovation within our classrooms across St. Peter, has some additional board members that have come on to, they've expressed interest in joining that board. Wanted to recognize Carrie Stelter, Charlie Potts, and Joey Holsmus, who will be joining that board. The board currently, Peter Nelson, Sherry Grostrom, Marsha Applin, and Vicki is our school board representative on that. They will be reviewing grant applications in December. They do that twice a year, and have just provided great support to encourage all of our teachers to be looking at innovation and new ideas that maybe aren't quite ready for prime time, ready for the building budgets or the school board's budget, but we can with that foundation seed money, try some things out. So we appreciate our community support in that endeavor, and we look forward to having them on that foundation.
All right, thank you. Board members.
Yeah, thank you to the students and the directors for West Side Story. And we got a lot of details about it. It was great. The thing about West Side Story is it's very technically tricky. It's a difficult thing. I don't know if I've ever known a high school to even try it. So the fact that they even tried it was impressive. But they did such a great job. The quality was higher than you would expect. I don't mean it just was very good. So something to be proud of, and it's happened in a beautiful space, and the ticketing was working well. It was just a nice, momentous thing to happen. So great job all around to everyone.
I just enjoyed watching Director Dixon, or Clerk Dixon, deliver awkward lines to his son.
A lot of great moments all around.
I was sitting there on Saturday night thinking how normal it felt to be in there, and then thinking that it's, this time last year we were in there for the first time. It's amazing how quickly it just feels like home.
I've got nothing.
Just quickly, I know this is later, but I'd encourage you to come to the Finance Committee meeting. We're going to be working on the recommendation to the board on the property tax levy, and we'll have more discussion there probably than we will the board meeting. So if you're free, please join us 11:30 on Wednesday, December 12th.
Tim?
Nothing.
Actually, as long as he brought that up, we are going to try to have a co-curricular meeting. We set a date yet? I can't remember what we, actually, we set a date and neither one of us can think of what it was.
I believe that we were attempting to finalize that today.
Okay.
So we'll make sure that that gets around.
So
We'll figure something out.
we'll figure something out.
So don't forget, this is a holiday week for most of us, so please be careful if you're traveling. Take time out to be thankful for all that we have in our district and our country and our community, and share time with your family and friends, and try and forget about whatever it is you need to forget about until when we get back. It's a pretty hectic pace from now until we go, but we want to make sure that everybody take that moment to be thankful. There's a reason that we celebrate Thanksgiving in the United States of America and have for a couple hundred years, and pause to consider that. With that, we have our upcoming meetings of the board. We have a study session Monday, December 3rd in the middle school, policy committee Wednesday, December 5th in the district office, gifts and donations Wednesday, December the 5th, following the policy committee. Instructional program committee is Tuesday, December 11th. Finance committee is Wednesday, December the 12th in the district office. Bob talked about that at 11:30. We got our regular board meeting scheduled for Monday, December 17th in the governor's room here. And then we're already looking at the organizational meeting of the board, which will be January 7th, and the regular board meeting following that. That's an early date due to the state law actually requires the first Monday, I believe it's called. And so we try to come right after that. So it's a short time between the two meetings, but that's the way she goes. So we're giving you a heads up on that now. And then there may be other meetings, and as they are posted, they'll be available to you. With that, it brings us to our favorite agenda item. Ms. Vicki?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.